Asa'iati, how are you? It's been a few weeks. I didn't have time, or I was too exhausted to film because I've been rehearsing a play and doing other plays or workshops for plays, and so I've been drained. And the times when I would record, I'd be like sleeping in and I'd lose light. I really need a ring light so I can be like the night owl that I am and record in the middle of the night. So anyway, my solution right now is I'm going to record multiple videos, which I think I should have done in the first place. So I'm not going to do the thing where you like trick people by changing your shirt and your whatever. I'm just going to do it, and you're going to see the same outfit in multiple videos. This is, I guess, what I'm committing to. So anyway, this is my October wrap-up where I am going to discuss and highlight 3 of the books that I read this month that I want to delve deeper into. Oh, did you see that cat hair? Did that go in front of your screen, or was that in front of me? Woo! Alright, so these aren't necessarily 3 of my favorite books that I read, but 3 that I want to discuss. The first book I want to discuss, no order, is Kushiel's Dart. I buddy read this with Mackenzie over at Bookish Black Hole, and it is a long one. It took, I think, a week for me to read at like almost 100 pages a day. And it was good though. It was a really good book. It did take about, I can't remember the page number, but it was like 40% of the way before it got really interesting. The first 40% worth, like, I wanted to know more, but also it was like a lot of information dumped onto you, and it was like, it's a very, I would say, like, heavily political fantasy world. So there was just like a lot of names and like connections and all this kind of stuff, and then I had forgotten that there's a list of characters, and like, oh god, I don't know why I bothered doing that because it washes out in the spot, but it's a list of characters and what their I don't know who they are, what their relation is to each other and their family. So I realized it about halfway through, and I started to use it more, but it was still a little confusing. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna forget and just go along for the ride with the main character, and I won't necessarily know what's going on with the political aspect of it, but here we are. So yeah, anyway, it got a lot more action-y about 40% through. This book is, if you do not know, it is in this world where there is a place called the Night Court, which has a bunch of different, I don't know what to call it, pleasure houses, and people who are there, who work there, have basically been raised since childhood. And it's not it doesn't seem like, for the most part, there's a stigma against it. Like, there seems like there's a whole, I don't know if it's like a church or a, what's the word? That word when you like honor somebody, like there's a statue. Anyway, they have like a deity called Nama, who is the one that they act in service of when they work in these pleasure houses, and each one like has a different like type of thing. Like, for people who are into BDSM, there's like a whole house for that people go to. Anyway, she doesn't work in one of those houses. She works for a specific nobleman who raises her, and she enters into the service and acts as a spy for him in these houses. Like, not in terms of like she's actively like digging through their stuff, but like listening to things they say and giving him that information so he can do with it what he will. And so that I thought was interesting. What I got from the story is her realizing her value as a person. I think she spent her whole life thinking about what her value is her body and what she can provide sexually, and there's nothing wrong with that, but on top of that, realizing that she has so much more to offer than just her physical self, and she's a smart person. She's clever. She knows a lot of things. She can put things together. She's really a really good person for that, and she's useful in many, many ways, and she has worth. So that's something I think she is working on through this book. One thing that I thought, well, that I clocked that bugged me, but I don't know if it's intentional, is the othering of people who are outside of her culture, who have different norms and practices from her and where she's from, and the way that she talks about them. It just feels very like, I don't know, like she felt like their ways were better, like, oh, they're not at, like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly things she said, but like, oh, they're not as beautiful, or they can't sing as well, like their best singers aren't as good. I'm an average singer where I'm from, but like their best singers aren't as good as, things like that. Or like being like, oh god, they're like brutes because they like this thing, or like they, so it just felt very like, I don't know if I would call, I have no idea if I would call these people like, that she's talking about, indigenous people, because I don't know like fully the world. There's like so many books, but it felt like that. So there's so many books. I haven't really decided if I feel connected enough to continue with the story. I don't know, maybe like one was enough for me. It was just dense. But I do know that there's a lot of people who really, really love this series. There are some negative reviews I saw on Goodreads that just called this like a BDSM novel, or an excuse for that, and I don't think that's fair. It's such a small part of the book. It's not even really about that. There are scenes you see where she is doing that work, but it's not really what it's about. It is weird, like her whole thing is that she gets pleasure, like literally, from pain, and I think sometimes hates herself for it. And I don't fully understand what makes that like I don't know, the fantasy aspect of that. But I'm curious. The thing that would keep me going is wondering what about that really makes her so special, that specifically, and wondering if it develops into something that I don't know, maybe it's more of a power. I don't know, honestly. But I gave it 4 stars, and TBD if I will continue with the series. The next 2 books that I want to highlight this month, I unfortunately do not have a physical copy of yet, but the next one that I want to talk about is called Fight or Submit by Ronald M. Derrickson, who is a Grand Chief of the West Bank First Nation in British Columbia. He is a successful businessman, leader. He's been chief for his people many times over. He's fought for his people. He brought them, I think, if I remember right, the book said something like, from being the poorest reserve in Canada to being the most prosperous, or one of the most prosperous. He fought for their rights in many ways. So it was just a very interesting read. He writes in a very straightforward, no nonsense way, lays things out, facts, numbers. And I admit that I got lost in the numbers sometimes, but I know that some people think more that way. Like, I wouldn't commend this book. Like, I've read memoirs that are a lot more flowery and poetic, but his is not like that at all, which is not a problem. I actually thought his story was really interesting. He had a hit taken out on him one time, I think it was in the 70s or 80s, and was attacked through that, and all these things just all because of business and these white business people who didn't want him to be successful, or like felt like because he wanted what his people's land was worth, or wanted to be paid fairly, they felt like they were angry at him about it. So there was things like that, which I thought was really interesting. And I've already written a review that's on Goodreads about this, but it just made me feel really like empowered for thinking about like how powerful all our peoples across Turtle Island really are in what we can do, what we can achieve when we really come together and put our minds to it. There's so many different issues happening across with land issues, and I would say globally for Indigenous people. You know, there's just so much happening, and I think about that and the things that he's fought and things that are still continuing to be fought against today. Like, it all just keeps going and going, and it's an ongoing battle, and I feel empowered to keep going through what he's said and wondering what we can do today. So I really appreciated it for that. I would recommend it if you are looking for more Indigenous memoirs. His story is very, very interesting from the business aspect. I don't think we usually read from Indigenous business people as much as we should, and they're out there. The next book that I want to talk about is really, really, really special to me. It's my favorite book from the month. Wow. It's my favorite book from the month. It's Firekeepers Daughter by Angeline Boulley, and it just makes my heart like so happy and so full. And I wrote this like in my review, which I haven't posted yet. It just, it broke my heart. It made my heart swell like the Grinch, like a million sizes too big. It's so, I keep saying so, but it's so unapologetically Anishinaabe in its storytelling, and in turn, like, I think is so unapologetically Indigenous. Like, there's interlaced throughout it is the Anishinaabe language, and there's not a lot of like being like explaining it for white viewers. It's just really for Indigenous people, especially specifically Anishinaabe people. There's traditions and cultural values and ceremony and things like that that really make you feel part of the world. And I don't know, I just felt like it felt like family is what it felt like. And there's also a lot of quite a few like issues that are presented in it too that are also a problem, relating to enrollment, blood quantum, drug addiction, drug distribution, violence, things like that are also in it. So I love that it's not painting us as it's not painting a perfect picture, but it's painting a real picture, and it's one that like touches you right here. So I don't want to like talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. I would consider this like a crime book. I think it fits across a few genres, but it is young adult. I would say older, if you're looking for something for like a teen reader or you are a teenager. I would say older teenager, just for like, because it is a pretty hard-hitting YA novel, but it is also a crime novel, and so I would recommend it to anybody who's looking for some more Indigenous crime fiction. And for that reason, I think that the synopsis, as it's written now, gives just like the perfect amount of information, doesn't spoil too much for all the twists that are throughout the entire book and the information that you learn. So I'm not going to delve into that too much. I will say, boy, what a ride. It was really engaging. The mystery element of figuring out what happened, and also just layered on top of that is the culture and the language and the issues, the community issues, and the people. Like, I can't say enough good things about this, and I can't wait till it comes out. It doesn't come out until February, March? I can't remember. You have to look it up. But if you are the pre-ordering type, if you can afford to buy brand new books, or if you want to ask your library to purchase it, you should. I think pre-ordering is really helpful to the author. And so if you can pre-order, if you can afford to pre-order, do that. You'll just be waiting for a few months, but it'll be a nice surprise. Thank you to the publisher, Henry Holt & Co., who provided me with an e-arc. I also should have mentioned that the other book, Fight or Submit, by Ronald Derrickson, was provided through NetGalley by ECW Press. So those are the 3 books I wanted to highlight. Just some stats. For this month, I read 7 books, and I was halfway through another book, which was The Space Between Worlds. Oh, sorry. It's in this other stack right now. The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, which I'll talk more about next month, because this is a 5-star book. I also read Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is a 5-star read. From Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout. Jennifer L. Armentrout? I can't remember. But those books kept me up all night. Those were really fun fantasy romances. So if you're into that, I would recommend. They are graphic. So beware of that. Don't give those to your children. Some other things that happened this month. I have been rehearsing a play, so that's why I have been so busy. I might have mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's called Spirit of the Valley. It opens tonight as of filming. I think this will go out a couple days later, but I imagine by the time you see this, you'll have one more week to see the play, one more weekend to see it. It is virtual. It's really fun. I'm hoping some Bookstagram friends see it, because this is probably one of the few times, if not only time, you'll be able to see me act. It's one good thing that's come out of having to stay home is virtual theater. And this one's been a lot of fun because it's really felt like as close to the theater experience as I've had virtually. So I'm really excited about it. Tickets are really affordable. I also became an affiliate for the Feminist Book Club. My voice went really high. Feminist Book Club. And that one's really exciting. I posted a unboxing of it in my Instagram stories, and I saved it in a highlight, so you can watch that still. So go over there and watch it. I don't want to I don't know, what's the word? Be a broken record, repeating it on YouTube when it's on Instagram. So go over there and watch it. Subscribe if you want. I have a 15% off code in my Instagram bio. And this month we're reading Braiding Sweetgrass. So if you want to read that with us, I shouldn't be talking about this right now. I'll probably talk about it in my, what's the word? My TBR video, which I'm going to film right after this one. I started a book club with my friend Danny at Thunderbird Woman Reads. We had started our own Instagram page for it, and we're reading memoirs for all of 2021. That's really exciting. So that is my life update. That's what's happening with me. I'm wearing earrings by my friend Lena. I should give her a shout out. She makes these really beautiful clay earrings, and she started her own page for it. And maybe I'll link that in the description below. I should link all this stuff in the description below. That's what I'll do. Anyway, I hope you are all well. I am going to film a couple more videos right after this, so I will see you soon. Yeah, so yeah, plus the team. I'll see you later. Bye.